Let me welcome you to today's class, where we will be doing overheads. Already I know you have these notes, but it is good when we pass through them. The last time we were doing inventory management, we did a very good job. I know that some of us were able to do their assignments and shared with me. Others are yet to convince me that they are still revising. So basically, the passing of exams lies with your commitments. So I'll just be giving out my 20%. So I think the 80% work rate lies with you. Now I just want to continue with our syllabus, and we are looking on overheads. And when I look on the overheads, and we have already. This is not a new term to us. When you're discussing about overheads, I normally think about indirect expenses. And when you're looking on indirect expenses, it means these are just expenses which are not directly attributed to the number of the units which are going to be produced. Unlike the prime cost, and when we discuss about the prime cost, we discuss about material, labor, direct expenses, and we are saying that they cannot be directly attributed to a particular product. So it means that because already we are discussing an issue of indirect expenses, we cannot just be able to say that certain costs is directly attributed to number of units produced. So what do we normally do? Once we incur certain costs, we have to be distributing it to the total number of the units which are going to be produced, or the total cost incurred in terms of the indirect expense. It has to be attributed to all the departments which benefited from the common expenses. And we are saying that the main challenges of the distribution of these expenses, which are basically the departments that we are going to be working with, we are going to be attributing using the ratios. And we are saying it should be based on the benefit derived from the common expense. It means there are certain proportions which are going to be given out to mean that these costs which are going to be incurred. Basically, we are going to be basing our argument on the proportions based on the benefit attributed. So when you look on the allocation of the overheads, we are saying it is the process of distributing the common expense to all the sections or departments which benefited from these expenses. We are saying it is normally done based on the historical data. In that one, we are going to be basing our argument on the past experience. When you look on the apportionment, how are we going to be apportioning the overheads? We are saying that the apportionment of the overhead is the sharing of the common expense, the sections of the organization using a given formula. And when you're looking on it, we are saying that the formula is basically known as the base. So I just want to look on the base areas when we have certain common expenses that we have to be attributing to some overhead items. The first thing when you are doing your questions, just look on the overhead items, and the overhead items, it means these are the total costs that are basically given in the question. Look on the base based on how can I be able to attribute the rendered rates. And I remember because already we are a bit exposed to how the rendered rates are normally attributed in Nairobi. We have to be checking on the rendered rates. We have to be using the area occupied or the floor area. And in this case, we know very well, if we are using the floor area, we are going to be told if, for instance, my office is covering 10 meters square or square meter, it means that I'm going to be charged certain amount. When it comes to the electricity and we are using the same meter, this is when we are discussing about the electricity in terms of lighting. We are going to be, basically sometimes organizations can depend, or they can be able to use the number of bulbs to attribute the total number of electricity to the departments, or we are basically using the floor area. When you look on the electricity power, the power is based on the kilowatt hours. Depreciation, we are going to be looking on the book value of the machine. Insurance the same, because already when you look on how the insurance are normally allocated to the vehicles, there is, for one, I can talk about Swift as a type of a car, and then we have a car like TX, which is Prado, they cannot be having the same insurances. So basically, we have to be looking on the value of that vehicle before we ascertain how much are they supposed to be paying for insurance. When you look on the canteen expense within the organization, we are going to be attributing that cost using the number of employees. The personal costs in an organization, we are going also to be using the number of employees. Then we have property taxes, which mostly the organization, or not the organization, but the buildings have to be paid for property taxes. We're going to be using the area, the floor area occupied by those departments. Before we look on the overheads of the service department, I just want to do an illustration. There is a question which they have already tested in November 2015, and then I will be in a position to give you an assignment for the same. So let me first do the November 2015 question, give out an assignment, then we shift to services, the overheads of the service departments. Sorry. Hi, Mary, good evening.
Good evening.
Hi, Mary. Is Mary with us here? Grace, can you read for us? Because I can't hear Mary, so Grace, read for us.
Respa Limited manufactures 3 products, namely A, B, and C. The company has 4 departments, namely W, X, Y, and Z. The following information relates to Respa Limited for the year ended 30th June 2014. We have the information for departmental information. Can you scroll up, please?
Okay.
Department information for area, value of machines, running of machines, average inventory value, wages paid, number of employees required, the overhead analysis sheet.
Very good. When you look on the question provided here, the examiner has already given you the overhead items. These overhead items, they are the ones that we are supposed to be distributing that cost, right? We have already said in our notes that when we are doing this question, always factor or check out on the issues of we have to be factoring the issues of allocating the allocation of the overhead, which we are going to be checking on the sections of the departments which have already benefited from them. So we have said that always look on the overhead items, and after you identify the overhead items, then your examiner normally provides you with the departmental information. The departmental information basically is going to be assisting you to apportion the common expense which is already incurred within the departments. Now, when I look on the questions above there, we can see that we are being given the overhead items from the rates to the canteen expense. Then we are going to be distributing that cost based on the areas occupied or based on how those departments were able to benefit from the services provided. So let us look on how can we do an overhead analysis sheet, and I want each and every one of you to be participating now. Let us check on it. So in this case, we have to be checking on coming up with an overhead analysis sheet. Overhead analysis sheets. So what are we going to be having at the end of the day? We are going to be coming up with the overhead item. We have the overhead item there. Then we are going to be looking on the base, right? The overhead items, we have the base. Then we are going to be having the department. We are being given W, X, Y, and Z. W, X, Y, and Z, looking like that. Then here we are being told already, we are being told by this examiner that minutes. A minute, please. So in this case, let us allocate the overheads provided there by the examiner. And I'm going to be starting with rates. So I've been given rates here. And I'm going to be asking myself, if the overhead item for the rate is provided, what is the base which is going to be used? And I go to the departmental information provided there. And I can see already the rendered rates, we say, let us use the area or the square meter, right? The square meters. So in this case here, I just come and I write in my base, I'm using area to do apportionments. I'm going to be using area. Now, after using the area, how am I going to be apportioning these, the cost of 25,000? How am I going to be apportioning that? So I'm going to be taking the summation because you have to be coming up with a ratio. I just need you to take a summation, right, of the total area, so that we can be able to get the proportions. For example, let us take 4,000 for W, 4,000 plus, I think it is 2,000, 4,000, I can say 2,000 plus 3,000 plus 1,000. So in this case, I can see I'm getting 10,000. So to apportion for W, I'm going to be taking 4,000 divided by 10,000. Then I multiply by the total cost. Yeah, the total cost for the rates, which is 25,000. Which is 25,000. Which is 25,000. At that point, I will be able to know the overhead cost for W. So I just take out my calculator. I say 4,000 divided by 10,000 is 0.4. Then I multiply by 25,000, getting how much? Yeah, you get 10,000. So hapa naandika 10,000 there, right? Let us go to W now. When I go to W, I do the same. I take 2,000 divided by the total. 2,000, you divide by the total, then I multiply by 25,000. And there I'm getting 5,000. I write 5,000 there. Then I take the other one, 3,000 divided by the total, which is 0.3 times 25,000, getting 7,500. Then the last one will be 1,000 divided by 10,000, which equates to 0.1 times 25,000 comes to 2,500. Kama unataka kujua ulipata your question, do your summation uone kama unapata 25,000. You can do your summation and you see if you are getting 25,000, and you can see it equals to 25,000. So that it means already you have apportioned that cost for the rendered rates to all the departments. Let us go to the depreciation. And for the depreciation, we are going to be starting with buildings. And when I look on the departmental information provided there down, right, I can see the only cost which can be used to apportion. The base which I can be able to use for the buildings, I can just use the area occupied by the buildings. So I do the same. Remember, I can be able to remember the proportions. The first one is 0.4. Then I multiply by the total cost for the building, which is 45,000. Then it means for W will be 18,000, right? What about for X? I just say, let's take 0.2 times 45,000, getting 9,000 here, right? Then the next one, I can see we are being given 3,000, 0.3 times 45,000. This one I'm getting 13,500. Then the last one will be, right, 0.1 times 45,000, which is 4,500. 4,500. Let us look on the depreciation of machinery. How are we going to be depreciating our machinery? What criteria, what the departmental information are we going to be using? I can see the examiner has already given us the value of machine. So the value of the machine is the one that you're going to be using. What is the total? So it means the value of machine, I'm going to be taking the total. I just take 80,000 plus 60,000 plus 60,000. This translates to 200,000. So if I want to do the proportion, I just take 80 divide by 200. Then I multiply by the total cost for the machinery, right? I can see it's 20,000 times 20,000. The first one is 8,000, right? When I look on the second one, it is 60,000, 60 divided by 200. Then I multiply by, I can see it's 20,000. I'm getting 6,000 each. So yes, it's 6,000, yes, 6,000, and then yes, dash. Good. I've already allocated the overheads for those respective departments. After the depreciation, we go to the maintenance of buildings. Maintenance of buildings. So when you look at the maintenance of buildings, what are we going to be using to apportion the maintenance of buildings? And when I look on the maintenance of building, nothing else we can be able to use there rather than using the area, right? So how am I going to be apportioning it? We're going to be using the same proportions, right? We say the first one is 0.4. Then I multiply by the total cost for the maintenance of building, which is 15,000. The first one is 6,000. The second one is 0.2 times 15,000, getting 3,000 here. The third one will be 0.3 divided by 15,000, getting 45. Then the last one will be 1,500. The last one will be 1,500. After the maintenance of building, we go to the insurance. Under insurance, we are going to be starting with the insurance of buildings. The only base we can be able to use for the insurance of buildings, we can also use floor area. So we use the same criteria, 0.4 times the total for the insurance of building, which is 5,000. The first one will be 2,000. The second one will be 0.2 times 5,000 comes to 1,000. The third one will be 0.3 times 5,000 comes to 1,500. Then the last one will be 0.1 coming to 500. So I'm not struggling to get those answers. The next one will be the insurance of machines. The insurance of machines. So under the insurance of machine, I can see the total is 4,000. You ask yourself, under the insurance of machine, what can I be able to use? And I can say, I can just be able to use the value of machines. I can use it, the value of machine. So the value of machine, we say the total is here, 200,000. So I just take 80, right? I just take 80. So it will be 80 divided by 200. Then we multiply by 80 divided by that, and then we multiply by the machines is 4,000. The first one we are getting 1,600. 1,600. The second one we are getting how much? So it will be 60,000 divided by 200,000. Then we multiply by 4,000, getting 1,200 each. So here's 1,200. And also here's 1,200, but this one is dash. Now let us go to the next one after the insurance. We can proceed to the next one, and I can see it is inventory. And under the inventory, I can see the inventory we are being given 12,000. So what are we going to be using under the departmental information provided? Examiner has given us the average inventory. Average inventory. So let me use the average inventory to apportion these costs. I'm going to be starting by looking on the total sum for the departmental information, the total value for that. We are being told we have 20,000 plus 15,000 plus 15,000 plus the last one should be 10,000. The last one is 10,000. So how much is this? 30 plus 50, this translates to 60,000. So 20 divided by 60. Then I multiply by that cost, which is around 12,000. The first one I'm getting 4,000. The second one we are getting how much? 15,000. 15 divided by 60. Then we multiply by 12,000. The other one will be 3,000. 3,000. Then the last one will be 10,000. 10 divided by 60. Then we multiply by 12,000. Getting 2,000. Najua tuko pamoja mpaka hapo. After the insurance, I can see we have workman's compensation. After the inventory, sorry, we have workman's compensation. Workman's compensation. So under the workman's compensation, the total value that we are supposed to be allocating is 4,000. And then you are going to be asking, under this workman's compensation, what can we be able to use? And I will be able to say, the best you can be able to use for workman's compensation is the wages paid. You can just be able to use the wages paid. So in the question provided there, let me look on the total sum for that. I can see we have 120. We have 120 plus 170 plus how much? 120, 170, 80, 30. 80 plus 30. This comes to how much? So 120 plus 170, right? Plus 80 plus 30. This comes to 400. That comes to 400. So it will be 120 divided by 400, right? Then we multiply by the total amount, 4,000, which the first one will come to 1,200. The second one will be 170 divided by 400, sorry. Then you multiply by 4,000. Coming to 1,700. I know that you are following. 1,700. The next one will be, right, we are being told is 80. 80 divided by 400. Coming to 0.2. Then you multiply by total amount, 4,000, getting 800. Then the last one will be 30 divided by 400. Then you multiply by 4,000. 4,000. We get 300. Next one is that the examiner is telling us we have electricity. So for electricity, we are being given what? Electricity, the first one is lighting. For electricity, the first one is lighting. When I look on the departmental information provided for this, you can see that electricity lighting, we can just be able to use the floor area because we don't have the other one, which we talked about the number of bulbs. So the area, I have the sum and the totals. I can start with 0.4 times the total amount, which is 20,000. The first one is 8,000. The second one, after that, we are being told is 0.2, which is 4,000. The next one is 3,000. Getting 6,000. Then the last one is 0.1, right? 0.1, getting 2,000. Getting 2,000 there. After the lighting, I can see examiner has given us power. And the power we say, can we use the kilowatt hours? But when you look on the departmental information provided, we don't have, right? We don't have the kilowatt hours. We don't have the power. We don't have the kilowatt hours. What has the examiner provided you with? The examiner has provided you with the running of machines. Right, I can see we are being given the running of machines, and it's the best that we can just be able to use. Running of machines. So we are being given the running of machines. What is the total for the running of machines? I can see we have 15,000. 15,000 plus 7,000 plus 8,000. This comes to 30,000. So let me start by allocating that that cost. So we start by looking on the good, yes. So it will be 15 divided by 30. Then I multiply by the total value, the total amount for power, which is 24,000. The first one will be 12,000. The second one will be 7 divided by 30. Then you multiply by 24,000, getting 5,600. Then the last one will be 8 divided by 30. Then we multiply by 24,000. The last one we are getting 6,400. We are getting 6,400. Then it means hapo hatuna, hapo hakuna. Sindio? Then let us shift our gears to the next one. We have supervision. And na nikiona hata kitu inaitwa supervision, naangalia to the number of employees at the base. The number of employees. So the number of employees in our case here, we are being given 15, 20, 30, or 15, 20, 10, 5. 15 plus 10, 20 plus 10 plus 5. 20 plus 30, this comes to 50. So mi na portion ile pesa rahisi sana, 15 divided by 50. Then we multiply by the total amount for supervision, which is 60,000. Here we get 18,000 for the for department W. For the next one, we have 20 divided by 50. Then we multiply by supervision, which is 60,000, getting 24,000. The next one we have 15,000. No, sorry. We have the next one is 10 divided by total, which is 50. Then we multiply by the total, which is 60,000, getting 12,000. 12,000. Mina fikiria ingine ni 6. Wacha tuone. The next one is 6. 5 divided by 60. Then we multiply by 60,000. Getting 5. Is it 5,000? The last one should be 5,000. Then 5 or 6. It should be 6,000. 18, 24, 12. This should be 6,000. Should be 6,000 there. Now, let's shift our gears after the supervision. I can see we have personnel. Let me just write personnel. So under the personnel, I can see the total value or the base we can use it to allocate the personnel. It is also the number of employees. Right? Those overheads can just be allocated by the number of employees. So 15 divided by 50, then we multiply by the total amount, which is 40,000, getting 12,000 here. The next one we have 20, right? 20 divided by 50, then we multiply by 40,000, coming to 16,000. The next one we have after that we have 10 divided by 50. Then we multiply by the personnel is 40K, getting 8,000. The last one should be 4,000 because of the sequence. The last one we have the canteen expenses. The canteen expenses, when I look at it, we just need to apportion it using the number of employees. The number of employees. Now, in this case, when I look on this number of employees, right? When I look on this number of employees, we repeat again, 15 divided by 50, then we multiply by 12,000. Here we get at 600. Then the next one we have 20 divided by 50. Then we multiply by the total number of overheads, which is 12,000, getting 48. Then the 48 divided by 2 should be 24, and the last one should be 12. The next one should be 12. So nothing else you need to get out of this. The examiner just wanted you to get the total overheads for each department. Na hii najua ni rahisi sana kwako. You can just be able to get the total overheads allocated to each department at your own time, at your own free time. Any question? Any question? Any question? Ituliandika mingi, it should be 8,000. Any question? Teresa, is it clear?
Yes, it's okay.
Good, good. So let me give an assignment. The same question, the way we have done it. And this assignment, I'm supposed to be receiving it tomorrow. They tested on November 2019. November 2019, question 3B. The same concepts they tested during that time. Why can't they fail to bring it this time? So just do your revision well, and then be able to do for me November 2019, question 3B. If we don't have any question, I just want us to proceed to other areas whereby I have to be looking the most sensitive area. I just want to look on the overheads from service department to another service department. When you look on the service department, and I just want to explain it, the service department, they don't generate their own revenues. And therefore, the reason as to why they are existing within the organization, what to come a receptionist, right? What to come a soldier within the organization. They normally exist within the organization to provide efficient service delivery, right? The efficient service delivery to the organization or to the people who are going to be served. Now, in this case, right, they don't generate their own revenues. So what do we normally do with the service department? The overheads which already are going to be incurred by the service departments, the first process that you have to be doing first thing, just allocate their own overheads first. And then we are going to be distributing these to the production departments based on how they benefited from the service provided. So that is why we are discussing about the overheads from service department to another service department. Overheads from service departments. Overheads from service departments to another service department. There's overhead from service departments to another service department. So what am I talking about here? We are saying the following methods are normally used to allocate the overheads from one service department to the other service departments, right? Are the following methods. The following methods are normally used. The following methods are normally used to allocate overheads from service department to another service department. So what are we discussing about here? We normally have only 4 methods, and which are mostly tested. Number 1, we normally start by looking on the direct allocation method. Number 2, we normally talk about the step case. That is the term in which normally nowadays the examiner is using, but it is normally called the step and close down. The step and close down methods. Number 3, we are looking on, they are calling it repeatedly, but also the other name, it is normally called the continuous allocation method. Sometimes they are calling it repeated distribution method. Then the last one, which is number 4, we are going to be using something called simultaneous equation method. Simultaneous equation method. I just want to start by looking on the first one. Number one, we are talking about the direct allocation. The direct allocation method. So we are looking on how can I be able to allocate the overheads from one service department to another service department, right? So, and how is that available? How can I be able to work on it in that manner? And in this case, when you're discussing about the direct allocation method, we are saying it is just a method of overheads from, in this method, the overheads from the service departments are allocated to the production departments only, right? We are saying the overheads, right? We are saying the overheads from service departments, are allocated to the production departments only. What does it mean? It means we cannot be, and when we are using the direct allocation method, you cannot be able to allocate any overheads to the production, to the service departments based on the proportions provided there by the examiner. To understand this much better, I just want to be doing, I explain and then I do the illustration, right? And the illustration that I just want us to use, there is a question which was recently tested here. There is a question they tested the other day here. The question of, let me do November 2017 question 1B. November 2017, so that I can give you assignments. Question number 1B. Elaborating each method, and we look on now, do we have to be allocating these overheads using the respective method? November 2017, right? There is Mary. I see I have a lot of Marys here. So one will be able to read for us. So we are discussing about November 2017. So the question, these questions are always similar. So the way they are, you are going to be doing the same way. They don't have any changes. Question 1B. One Mary to read for us, please. Go on. None of them can read for us. Mary 2023. Cleophas, can you read for us?
Yes, I can read.
Okay.
Mazuri Limited, a manufacturing company, has 3 production departments and 2 service departments. Overheads for the departments for a specified period were as follows. We have production departments X, Y, and Z with 2,500, 2,000, and 1,500 each. Service departments, we have A and B with 1,780, sorry. Additional information. A technical assessment for the appointment of the service department costs were as follows. Department A and B with the figures. Then we have output for the production departments during the period wise provided below. And then required the total overheads chargeable to the production departments using 1, continuous allotment method, simultaneous equation method, and 3, overhead cost per unit for each department.
Thank you so much. And when I look on the question and the method which I'm using right now, we are using the direct allocation method. And you can see here, another additional information number 1. Examiner has already told us that how we are supposed to be the technical assessment of the apportionment of the service departments costs provided there for department A and B. Sorry, which are the service departments? And when you look on them, there is when you look at it, there is a proportion of 20% which the department A is according B. And you can also look on the department B giving service department A the 10%. When you are using the direct allocation method, right, we are saying that the proportion which belongs to the other service departments are normally ignored. So in this case, we are not going to be doing our summations by 100%. It means that if I'm going to be allocating the 1,000 for the service department A, I'm going to be ignoring 20%. So how am I going to be doing this apportionment? It will be 30% out of 80%, ignoring the 20% for the service department B, since you are using the direct allocation method. For B, you are going to be doing over 90%. So when you go back to our board, this is how you're supposed to be doing these questions. This is how you work on them. So when I look on the question, the examiner, we have said, let us use the direct allocation method to apportion that cost. And in this case, wewe unakujanga tu hapa chini unaandika namna hii. Unasema, niko na production department hapa. Niko na production departments, na niko na service departments. Na niko na service departments hapa, right? So the production departments of ours, examiner amekupea tatu. Tuko na X, tuko na Y, tuko na Z. Then the service department that we have, sisi tuko na A and B. The first thing that you have to be copying hapa, na hata una pressure, ni allocated overheads. The allocated overheads umepewa pale na examiner. Ametupea nini? Nikiangalia already, right? Nikiangalia the production department imepewa 2,500 hapa. Hapa akanipea 2,000. Right? Na hapa akanipea 1,500. The last one amenipea 1,000. Then the last one akanipea 780. Hapa hakuna criteria ya kudistribute hizi. Unakuja hapo unasema wacha tu apportion 1,000 to the production department, because already we have said in direct allocation the overheads are normally allocated directly to the production departments. So in this case hapa nakuja nasema from A now. Wacha tu allocate from A. Lakini kuna proportions naona tumepewa pale chini. Tumepewa 30, right? Ametupea 30 30 20. Right? For the X, Y, Z respectively. Right? 30 30 20. Tumesema hiyo 20 ingine wameallocate for B. Since you are using the direct allocation, you ignore that proportion. So sisi tunawaki na nini? Tunawaki na 80%. We are working with 80%. So it will be 30 divided by 80. 30 divided by 80. Then you multiply by, we are allocating this 1,000. Unakuja unaiandika hapo ni kama unaitoa 1,000 in that manner. So we are allocating that 1,000 times 1,000. Then it means hapa napata 375. The first one. The second one also will be 375. Then the last one will be 20 divided by 80. Right? Then we multiply by 1,000, getting 250. Now ukiangalia summation, right? You are getting the 1,000 ukiangalia vizuri. Unapata hii 1,000 you have distributed. So hapa inamaanisha hakuna kitu. Then unakuja tena unamwambia wacha tu allocate za B now. Hapo unakuja unamwandikia from B. From B hapo tuna allocate 780 to the production department. Inamaanisha kale ka 10% kamepewa A tunaka-ignore since we are using the direct allocation method. Direct allocation method. So proportions zangu zinakaa aje? 40 30 20. 40 30 20. This translates to 90%. So it will be 40 divided by 90. Then I multiply by 780, getting 347. Right? The second one will be 30 divided by 90. Then I multiply it by, how much are we allocating? 780, getting 260. Then the last one will be 20, divided by 80. Then 90, sorry. Then you multiply by 780. We are getting 173. 173. 173. Right? So what is the total here for each department? Unakuja hapo unapata total zako for each department. The last one will be 173 plus 250 plus 1500. Unapata 1923. We have 260 plus 375 plus 2000, getting 2635. Then the first one will be 2500 plus 375 plus 347. Hapa unapata 3222. Hivyo ndio unafanya mahesabu zako ukitumia the direct allocation method. Wacha tuangalie method yetu ya pili. Method number 2. Method yetu number 2. Tumesema wacha tutumie step and close down. Step and close down method. Iko na ujanja kidogo, right? Iko na kaujanja kiasi. When we are using the step and close down method, we are saying, right, in this method, the service departments which allocate a higher proportion, the service departments which allocates the highest proportion or the higher proportion is identified. You normally identify it. Ukiangalia hapa already examiner amekuandikia hapa kwa pale kwa allocation amekuandikia hapa 20% na hapa akakuandikia 10%. Hiyo ndio tunaongelea. Ukiangalia from A imepea B 20%. B imepea A services 10%. Ni gani inapeana the highest proportion? Ni from A ndio inapeana the highest proportion, right? And because it's a step and close down, we say the overhead from these departments is allocated first to other departments. The overheads from these departments, are allocated first to the other departments. They are allocated first to the other departments. Hivi tunamaanisha aje? They are allocated to both production and the service production. The service department, sorry. So they are allocated from the production departments and also to the service department, right? That is why we are saying the overhead from this department are allocated first to other departments, right? And we are saying already that once the overhead has been allocated this department, then the department is closed down, right? We are saying once the overheads are allocated, once the overheads are allocated from this department, when the overheads are allocated from this department, we are saying then the department is closed down. Then the department is closed down. Inamaanisha it will not be receiving any further or any it will not be receiving any other overheads from the other department. So once we allocate it, we are saying once the overheads are allocated from this department, the department is closed down. It will not be able to receive any more overheads. So the overheads from the other department is then allocated, right? We are saying the overheads from the other departments is allocated or are allocated to the production departments. They are allocated to the production department. Mimi nikiangalia swali tulikuwa tunafanya hapa, examiner amenipea XYZ. Then niko na AB. Niko na AB hapo. Examiner amenipea vitu zinakaa hivi. Nakuja hapa namwambia examiner, wacha niweke allocated overheads zangu. So the allocated overheads, they remain the same, 2,500, 2,000, right? We have 1,500, we have 1,000, and then we have 780. Ukienda pale chini examiner amekupea proportions. Tuangalie ni department gani inapea the other service department the highest proportion. Nilikwambia department A imepea the B the highest proportion which is 20%. So hiyo ndio tutallocate ya kwanza. Unakuja tu hapo unamwambia from A. Na ujue saa hizi una step, inamaanisha una allocate mpaka to the other service department. So when we are allocating 1,000, we are using 100%. What am I talking about? It will be 0.3 times 1,000 comes to 300, right? The other one is 30%, also 300. This one we are given 200. Then the other one on the B side, it is 20% comes to 200. That is what we mean we are stepping. Tumestep kwa wenyewe. Tukawapea hover zenye wana benefit kutoka kwetu. Tumewapea 200, right? And then we are saying we are closing down. When you do the summation between what was allocated and what was allocated overhead and what we have already apportioned, we are getting 980. This is what we are allocating to the production departments only. It means yes.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Hiyo kona haionekani.
Hakuna kitu naona hapo, let me see. Okay.
Tunaona A atoni B.
Okay. Let me clear it here. Thank you. Let me repeat it here. No problem. So we have our X, we have our Y, we have our Z, we have our A, and then we have our B. Good. So we have our allocated overheads. We have 2,500. The other one will be 2,000. Then hapa tumesema 1,500, 1,000, and 780. Tumesema the one which allocates the highest overhead is distributed first. Na hapa tukasema from A. Our A is 1,000. Use your proportions. Hapa tukasema ni 300. Hapa ukaniambia ni 300. Hapa ikakuwa 200. Na hapa bado ikakuwa 200. Nikakwambia chukua chenye kimeallocatiwa together with what we have already apportioned there. Na ukapata hapa 980. Apportion is to the production department. Hapo utakuja uniambie from B. From B now. Right? From B. So from B tuna allocate na proportion gani? Usiniambia 100%. Since A apati kitu, A ataki. Right? Because we have stepped, step up or allocate, and then you are closing it down. Then A is not receiving further overhead. So we are allocating with 90%. Right? We are allocating with 90%. So we are allocating with 90%. It will be looking like what? It will be 40 over 90. 40 divided by 90. Then we multiply by 980. So the first one will be 436. The second one will be how much? The second one I can see is 30. 30 divided by 90. Then we multiply by 980, getting 327. 327. Then the last one is 20. 0.2, not 0.2, but 20 divided by 90. Then we multiply by 980. Getting 218. 218. It's a total kweli. Wacha niseme 217. Ndio ikuwe total. Total pale. So 217 plus 327 plus 436. Correct. It should be like that. Now, let me get the total now for each production department. Right? The last one will be 217 plus 200 plus 1,500. Hapo unapata 1917. The other one will be 2,300 plus 327, getting 2627. Then the first one will be 2,500 plus 736. Napata 3236. 3236. Wacha tuende kwa method ya tatu. Hii imekwisha. Ya tatu sasa na nafikiri is one of the requirements of the question. Ya tatu. Hii ya tatu examiner anatuuliza nini? Examiner anatuuliza kitu rahisi. Number 3, we normally talk about repeated repeated allocation methods. Ama uachane nao watumie the word they wanatumia hapo, continuous. Hii ni rahisi sana hii. Hii method yenye yote hii wanatuuliza, hii ndio rahisi kabisa. Kwa nini? Hii una distributing overheads mpaka zina remain zero. Both the production and the service departments. What do I mean? Wacha tuende kwa illustration yetu. Hii ni very easy. Hii ni very easy. Kuja hapo uchukue allocated overhead zako. Usitaki kujua ni gani inapeana the mingi na ingine inapeana kidogo. So we start with 2500. Here we have 2000, 1500, 1780. Start allocating the overhead. Wacha tuanze from A. Na sasa tuna allocate na nini? Tuna allocate na 100%. We start with 1000. Tuna apportion 1000 all through. Tunatumia 100% since we apportion it to the service and production departments, both. So we start with 0.3 times 1000. We say here is 300, 300, 200, 200. Ukihada hapa tuna apportion 980. Tunarudia tena process. Itakuwa 0.4 because hii tuna apportion na 100% times 980. Hapa ni 392. Hapa ni from B. Right? 392. The other one we are discussing about 0.3. Get it to 94. The next one for Z I can see is 20, which is 196. Na ingine tumeambiwa ni 10%, which is 98. What is that to allocate from A again? Unarudia mpaka zinaisha. From A, right? 98%. So it's not 98%, but 98, which are the already overheads which are existing for A. So in this case, we talk about 0.3 times 98, getting 29.4, right? The other one would be 0.3, 29.4. Yeah. The other one is 22, which is 19.6. Now mwingine pia anakula 19.6. Haya, turudi tena kwa B. Allocate from B repeatedly. Wa 19.6 mpaka ziishe. Haya, tumerudi kwa B sasa. Kwa B atakuwa 40%. Right? 0.4 times 19.6. Getting 7.84. 7.84. The other one would be, right? We are discussing about 30%. This is 5.88. The next one will be, right, 20%, getting 3.92. Then the last one for A nataka ngapi? 10%, 1.96. Rudia tena, ukuja hapo useme from A. Na ukianza kupata ma 0 point, unasimamishia swali hapo. So tunaenda kwa 1.96. So tuna portion na proportions za A. A tumepewa 30, 30, 20, 20. So in this case, it will be 30, 0.3 times 1.96. Hapa tunapata 0.6, right? The other one will be 30, 0.60. The other one we are being given 20%. 20%, getting 0.4. 0.4. Sijui kama itanipea, haitanipea answer mzuri. Let me say 0.8 plus 1.2 coming to 2, which is equivalent, yes. Is equivalent to 2. So in this case, ukishapata tu mazero, wewe achana nayo. Alright? Hiyo imekwisha. Wewe kuja tu ufanye summation yako hapa. Fanya summation kabisa. Shaanza kupata 0 points. Swali yako imekwisha. So let me start for Z. We start with 1500 plus 200, 196, 19.6, right? Plus 3.92 plus 0.40. We are getting 19.92. The other one would be, right, 2000 plus 3000, plus 294 plus 29.4 plus 5.88 plus 0.60. Tunapata 5329.88. Then the first one, 2500 plus 3300, sorry, plus 392 plus 29.4, right? Plus 7.84 plus 0.60. Mimi napata 3229.84. Teresia, kuna swali? Any question on that?
No question.
Very good. That is how you do your repeated allocation method. Sasa waje tuende hii ya mwisho na inatumia QA kidogo hapa. Right? Hapa natumia elimination method, which is normally called simultaneous equation methods. Number 4. Simultaneous equation method. Simultaneous equation method. Simultaneous. So hii nataka namna gani hii ya simultaneous? Nakuja hapa nikwambie, for simultaneous is very simple. The reason being, right? We normally form an equation. Because already unaangalia pale wanaongelea simultaneous. We say an equation is formed. An equation is formed. An equation is going to be formed which represent the total overhead. Which represents the total overheads. Which represent the total overheads, right? This equation comprises the allocated. This equation comprises of comprise the allocated overheads. The allocated overheads and the allocated overheads and the proportions expected from the other service departments and the proportions expected from the other service departments, right? So in this case it means, na hii ndio formula unapaswa kutumia sana sana when you are doing simultaneous. The total overheads of ours, we normally take the allocated overheads, tunachukuanga allocated overheads plus the share from the service department. The share from the service department. The share from the service department. Hii inamaanisha nini? Hii inamaanisha rahisi sana. Unakujanga hapa because we want to come up with an equation, right? Hapo unataka kuformulate an equation. Unakuja hapo unaniambia mwalimu, let X represent the service department. The service department A in our question now. Then hapo unakuja unaniambia let Y represent the service department B. The service department. Namna hiyo sasa. Sindio? So in this case wakati unakuja unaangalia, what are the total overheads for the service department? They are being represented here. Unakuja unaniambia for X, let us look on the allocated overheads. Wameallocatiwa 1,000. Right? Plus, what are they benefiting from the other service department? We are discussing about A. A inapata 0.1 of B. In our scenario here, we talk about Y. Tunaelewana mpaka hapo. 0.1. Nikiangalia kwa swali, B is giving A 0.1. 0.1 of B. In our case, we are talking about Y. Ukienda kwa Y, unakuja unaniambia, the allocated is 780. 780 plus, how much are they benefiting from the other service department? B inapata 0.2 of X. 0.2 of X from the other service department, which is our A, which is represented by X. Very good. Where we put the like sums together, unakuja waniambia, now to put the like sum together, lazima nipeleke hizi on the other side. x minus 0.1y should be equal to 1000. Si sawa? Alafu because tunataka x zikae side moja, hii tunasema negative 0.2x plus y should be equal to 780. Sasa hapa ndio tunatumia mawadi hatari tulikuwa tunatumia kwa QA. I will be able to tell you, eliminate one unknown, right? Let us eliminate one unknown. So to eliminate one unknown, we make it equal so that when you subtract, inaisha. Haya, hii ni kizungumkuti gani? It means hapa tuna multiply na negative 0.2 na hapa tuna multiply na 1. So itakaa namna gani? It will be, open your brackets, it will be, right, negative 0.2x, right, plus 0.02 y should be equal to negative, is it 200? Yes, it should be negative 200. Then the other one remains the same. It will be negative 0.2x plus y of ours, which equals to 780. Tuanisha hapa, we eliminate x. Chukua negative 0.2 minus 0.2, hapo utapata 0. What about y now? For y we say, we take 0.02 minus 1. Hapo utapata negative 0.98 of y. We should be equal to negative 200 minus 780, we get negative 980. Divide here by negative 0.98, divide here by negative 0.98. So, y yangu napata ngapi? Y yangu should be Kenya shillings. 1,000. Y yangu should be 1,000. Alafu hapa nakuja nasema substituting for a now. Not for a, but for x. Let us substitute for x. And in this case, I don't know to put equation ya kwanza hapa. Niseme, x yangu should be equal to 1,000 plus 0.1 times 1,000. Na hii napata Kenya shillings 1100. 1100. So, in this case, hapo nakuja unaniambia, ndio nifanye swali yangu ni allocate hizo by which I've already gotten using the simultaneous equation method. Nakuja unachukua na x, y, z, a, b. Sasa wewe hapa ni kukua mjanja kabisa. Right? Let us look on the allocated overheads. When you look on the allocated overheads, we look on the ones which already are being allocated to the production departments. Hapa ni 25,000. Hapa ni 2,000, right? And then hapa ni 1,500. But now the A na B ni hizi umepata hapa. Ni hizi umepata. The A will be 1,100 because already ulisema let x ika represent A, 1,100 ni ulipata hapa. Then for B ni 1,000. Sawa. Hizi ukishafika hapa, wacha tu allocate A. From A now. Wacha tu allocate A. Unasema hapa from A. Uta allocate 1,100, yes. But uta allocate na 100 but to the production department only. Nataka unipate hapo correctly. Uta allocate na 100%. You are not allocating that to B, but to the production department only. So let's start with the A. It will be 0.3 times 1,100. Getting 330. It will be 330. Na hapa ya mwisho itakuwa 220. Right? It will be 220, yes. Na hapo hakuna. But now nikuja tena ni allocate 1,000. Nimesema tuna allocate kwa production departments na allocate na 100%. But si allocate kwa any service department. The last one will be 400. Correct? It will be 400. The other one will be 300. The other one will be 200. Tupate totals namna hii. Tupate totals namna hiyo. The last one naona mwalimu aliniambia ni 1920. Hii ni 2630. Na ya kwanza ni 73230. 3230. Sawa sawa. Kuna kaswali kingine naona hapo mwalimu. Mwalimu but the examiner amekupea. Examiner pale anakuambia vitu rahisi sana. Anasema pale kwa requirement ya mwisho, right? Requirement ya mwisho. Ameniambia
Mwalimu, niko
vizuri.
na swali.
Yes, yes.
Hapo kwa Z from A that to 20. Tunachukua 20 over 100.
Yes, nimesema hapa zote tumeallocate na 100%, but we don't allocate to the service department. We allocate to 100, but to the production only. Umenielewa?
Okay. Yes.
Very good. Very good. Now, nikiangalia number 3, examiner is talking about the overhead cost per unit for each department. Number 3. We are talking about the overhead cost per unit, right? For each department. Utakuja hapo mwambie na hizi ndio vitu tunaenda kusoma kwa ABC. Sorry, we are discussing about to get an overhead absorption rate, which we normally take the total budgeted overheads. Nachukuanga the total budgeted overheads, we divide by the total budgeted. The total budgeted unit of the base. Unit of the base. Base inaweza kuwa labor hours, materials, yes, material costs, inaweza kuwa anything different, right? So in our scenario here, these are the only costs that we have right now. These ones. Examiner nakuuliza, what will be the overhead cost per unit? These are the total budgeted overhead now for X, for Y, for Z. Right? So in this case, nakuja hapa namwambia, let's start with X. The total budgeted overhead nakuja naziweka in full. 30,000 divide by the total number of units amekuallocatea pale. Nimekuambia the units of output for X is 200,000. So per unit ni pesa ngapi? Per unit ni how much? Per unit ni ngapi? 3230 divided by 200. I'm getting 16.15 per unit. Twende kwa Y now. Nimeallocate 2630. Right? Divide by the number of units amenipea pale ni 100,000. Right? So hii na hiyo na hii 26.30 per unit. Then we have Z now. Z ni 1920,000. The number of units ametupea pale, ametupea 50,000. So it will be 1920 divided by 50, getting 38 Kenya shillings, 0.20 per unit. Nani hajaelewa hapo? Nani hajaelewa mpaka hapo? Nani hajaelewa mpaka hapo? Right? Hakuna? Hata mimi nimeelewa. So the assignment for this parts, let me give out the assignments for this one. And we are going to be doing for all the methods, the 4. Usinifanyie na moja ama mbili zenye examiner ameuliza, hapana. Nifanyie na zote 4. So the same question they tested in May 2021. Question number 3B. May 2021, question 3B, they brought that question up. Walileta. The same approach. Go and check it in May 2021. May 2021. Mimi nataka tumalizie overheads. Because we are very good. Nataka tumalizie overheads. Na nataka tuangalie vitu zinaitwa overstock under absorption. Nataka tuangalie vitu zinaitwa overstock under. Na chenye tutaelewa hapa vizuri, tutaelewa topic inaitangwa marginal and absorption costing. Ukielewa over and under hapa, ukienda kwa marginal and absorption costing, right? Then utaikamata pia vizuri sana. Utaikamata vizuri sana. Right? So waje tuangalie what is that? We are talking about over stock under absorption. Absorb of overheads. Overstock under absorption of overheads. Wacha tuangalie notes zetu zinatuambiaje in this regard. So here we are being told, okay, so hapa tunaambiwa vizuri for overstock under, wacha tuende mpaka hapo. Examiner ametuambia vizuri, tumeambiwa hapa in my notes, not the examiner but from our notes, we are being told the overhead absorbed to product can either be more or less than expected, depending on the expected or actual output. So overabsorption occurs when the overhead absorbed is more than the actual. Na hii ndasema namna hii, right? Hii ndasema namna hii. When we were carrying out our budgets, when we were doing our budgets, tulienda tuka allocate more units, tuka allocate more funds for the production. And then when we allocated more funds, we had more units in our budgets, right? We had more units in our budget. When it came to the actual case of view, we can see that the number of the units which were, the actual overheads were less than what we budgeted. That is what we discuss about the overabsorption. But underabsorption occurs when the overhead absorbed are less than the actual overhead. What already you budgeted, right, is less than the actual. What you budgeted is less than the actual. To understand this further, because already nataka uelewe vizuri, to be able to understand what we are talking about, wacha nikupeleke hapa kwa board. Hata zi kwa board, sitaki kupeleka kwa board. Wacha tuende kwanza kwa swali direct. Wacha niende kwa swali mimi direct, so that tuelewane vizuri. Wacha tuende kwa swali straight. So there is a question they brought on November 2018. Kuna kaswali walileta pale November 2018. Question number 1B. Lillian will be able to read for us right now. We have management accounting here. But kaswali walikaleta pale. If you are not keen, unaweza shangaa. Mbona examiner ameniletea swali sijawahi funzwa? Go on. Lillian?
Yes, Nduro Limited has 2 production departments, MM and NN, and 2 service departments, that is PP and QQ. For the month of August 2018, the budgeted hours and costs were as follows. In Department MM, we have hours and we have cost. In Department MM, we have 1,800 at a cost of 45,000. And in Department NN, we have 5,400 hours and cost 54,000. Additional information. The service department costs are apportioned to the production departments as follows. For PP, okay. We have Department MM, we have Department NN, we have Department PP, and we have Department QQ. In MM, we are having 50%. NN, we have 20%. PP has nothing. QQ has 30%.
Continue.
The overheads of the production departments are absorbed into product cost using rate per hour. During the month of August 2018, the actual activity levels and costs were as follows. In Department MM, we had 1980 hours at a cost of 43,200. Department NN, we had 6,120 hours at a cost of 52,200. In PP, we are not given hours. but we are given costs of 10,800. And QQ, we are also not given hours, but we are given costs of 7,200 required. The overheads to be charged to the production departments. Number 2, the amount of under or over absorption in each production department.
Kitu mzuri unapaswa kuangalia kwa hii swali, thank you Lillian, is about calculating the actual overheads. Hiyo ndio number 1. Na ukiangalia kwa hii swali, mostly when you are doing these questions of understroke over absorption of overheads, tunatumianga step and close down method. Nataka u take note of that. When you are doing these questions, you always use the method of step and close down method. So, nitatumia kwanza nipate the actual overheads. Then I will be able to calculate the absorbed overheads. Correct? So, let me go back to my board and I check on those aspects I'm talking about. Right, let me go back to my board now. And we have said, when you look on this question, examiner's given you 2 departments which are production. So hapa nakuja nasema my production departments are there. Then we have the service department. We have the service department there, right? So in this case nakuja hapa nasema we have only 2 service production department. We have MM. Then hapa tuko na NN. Then tuko na PP na niko na QQ. Right? Niko na PP na niko na QQ hapo. So in this case tumesema first take your allocated overheads. Zieke hapa. So the allocated overheads nimeona vizuri. Examiner amenipea 43,200. Next we use after 43,200 we have 52,200. Pole pole 2. Then for PP we have 10,800. Then tuko na 72,100. Sini sawa? So wakati tulikuwa tunaongelea steps za step and close, tulisema identify the service department which provide the higher proportion to the other service department. Nikiangalia pale chini, examiner amenipea nini? Acha niangalia pale chini zile proportions amenipea. Amenipea proportions that PP is giving QQ the highest proportion. Sini ukweli 30%. Then QQ is giving PP 20%. So hapa nakuja nasema let me first allocate the PP 10,800. Right? 10,800. So in this case hapa nakuja nasema allocate from PP 10,800. Tulisema ukiallocate for PP una allocate zote 100%. We say the service department which allocates the higher proportion to the higher service department is apportioned first. That is what we are doing now. So in this case, naona pale tumepewa 50%, 0.5, right? Times 10,800. This comes to 5,400. The other one will be 20%, 0.2 times 10,800. Getting 2,160. Then yule mwingine unampea ngapi? Anataka 30%, 0.3 times 10,800. Getting that 240. Aya, pata total ya service department QQ, which comes to 10,440. Then because we are using the step and close down, it means PP will not accept further overheads. So tuna allocate zote to the production department only. So hapo unakuja waniambia from QQ now. So tuna allocate it 10,440, but we are not allocating to PP. So which proportion are we using? Mimi naona ni 40/80. 40 divided by 80. Kwa nini? Because we allocate for PP. Right? 40/80. Then you multiply by 10,440. Hapo unapata 5220. Right? Then the other one tunapata ngapi? Bado ni the same. 5220. Najua hapo tuko pamoja.
Yeah, David.
Yes.
No, ni vigere. No, dia vas change.
Good. So in this case, do your totals. So we are going to be having 5220 plus 2160 plus 52,200. We are getting 59,580. Then the first one will be 5220 plus 5400 plus 43,200. Hapa napata 53,820. 53,820 and then 59,580. This is what we talk about your actual overheads. We talk about the actual overhead. Even you calculate the actual overheads. Then we said, because we want to compare them with the overheads absorbed. We want to compare them with overheads absorbed. Why don't you is the overhead absorbed? The overhead absorbed. So in this case, we are saying to get the overhead absorbed, take your overhead absorption rate, we multiply by the actual units of the base. We have said, take the overhead absorption rate times the actual units. Actual units of the base. The actual units of the base. So in this case, the first thing that you have to be looking at, it is the overhead absorption rate. Na vile hapo naniambia mwalimu ndio nipate the overhead absorption rate, ulituambia we normally take the total budgeted. The total budgeted overheads, we divide by the total budgeted. The total budgeted units of the base. The units of the base. So the total budgeted overheads, nikiangalia pale examiner amenipea hizi vitu na naziita the total budgeted overheads. Pale juu kabisa, before the additional information, amenipea the budgeted hours and the cost were as follows. Amenipea pale, right? So the first one we start with mtu anaitwa MM. MM naona vizuri because we are using the labor hours in this case, right? We are going to be taking 45,000 divided by 1,800. How much are we getting per hour? 45,000 divided by 1,800. Mimi naona nikipata Kenya shillings 25 per hour. 25 per hour. What about NN? NN nachukua how much? It is 54,000 divided by the number of hours allocated, which is 5,400. And in this case, we are getting Kenya shillings 10 per hour. 10 per hour. 10 per hour, right? So in this case, nishapata namna hiyo, already nimepewa pale chini. During the month of August, additional information 3 umeambiwaje. During the month of August 2018, the actual activity levels and the cost were as follows. Examiner amenipea the actual hours. The actual hours. So to get the overhead, the overheads absorbed, right? To get the overhead absorbed for MM and NN now, we say per hour is 25 for MM, the other one is 10. The number of actual hours provided by the examiner amenipea ngapi? Pale chini amenipea 1980. Then akakupea 6120. Hii ni 61,200. Hii ya juu ni ngapi? 25 times 1980. Hapa napata 49,500. Si ndio? Na unishapata hii, ndio nijibu swali yangu na kuja naambia examiner. Mimi najua chenye nafanya. Nakuja hapa namwambia, wacha to look for departments. Right? Nikishaangalia departments zangu, wacha nichukue absorbed overheads. Absorbed overheads. Niko na actual. The actual overheads. Then the last thing, just look on the treatment. We are looking on whether kuna overstock under. So hapa niko na nani? Niko na MM na niko na NN. The absorbed overheads, the overheads absorbed, the first one is 49,500. The second one is 61,200. Then when you look on the actual overhead, the first one is 53,820. Then the other one is 59,580. Lillian, can you tell me the treatment of the first one? Is it over or under? The first one, Lillian? Is it over or under? Because the difference which I'm getting is for 320. Between this and that one. So 61,200 minus 59,580. Mary, the first one in is it over or under? Grace? Grade the first one, is it over or under? Sema chenye itakuwa, hakuna shida. The first one should be?
Under.
The first one is under. Very good. This one is under. It is under absorbed. And then the last one is over absorbed. Over absorbed. Look at it. Hata ukiweka kwa calculator utapata negative. It's simple. It's simple way. Ikiwa negative, that is under absorption. Ikiwa positive, it was over. Ichukua E minus E, E minus E. For you to differentiate. For you to differentiate. Any question? Any question? Jackson Mule? So assignment for under over absorption of overheads, tutafanya assignment ya August 2022. August 2022, question 2B. August 2022, question 2B. Mimi nimepeana swali tatu. Very crucial questions. I'm expecting them to be done by tomorrow. By tomorrow. Nyinyi hamna maswali, mimi nimepeana zangu. Nimepeana zangu. Any question before I conclude? Any question? So if we don't have any question, we can stop at that point, but don't left. Just wait a minute. Don't leave.